Stevie D of Buckcherry. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Steph. How are you? Hey,
And your dog's
I
excited.
dog here, and she hears somebody outside. So I'm sorry for the loud barking. Hey, sit, sit.
It's keeping. Do you want me to sit? I will. I'm listening. Okay. No, my dog does the same thing. So wait, is it Stevie D because it's a big D? Like how? Why is that?
Well, my last name's Dak, and coming up through the trenches, from the trenches, a lot of people just mispronounce my name. So it's early on, I think, when I got to Hollywood, or just before. No, when I got to Hollywood, I was on a video set, and I was doing a video for El DeBarge, and somebody on set, instead of saying my last name, they just said Stevie D. So I was like, okay, there it is. That's easy, and it stuck, and it's been with me ever since. So
It's
yeah.
like a porn star name. I like it. Yeah. Okay, so
Well,
you guys are going on tour to Canada with my bros. I love Steel Panther. They've come by the show so many times. I
I,
grew up in LA with those guys. How did this tour come about?
um, I'm not quite sure. We've toured with them before. We've done Australia, we've done the UK with them, and I we go way back. I'm friends with Michael Starr for a long time, and
You and
since
Ralph had a threesome in LA one
yeah,
time?
in LA, Ralph. So is that what he's going? Is he going by that? I don't know
I
what.
call him Ralph. I
Okay, all
That's
right.
what I'm
So,
doing.
so yeah, like I've known him, and I love the guy, and he's one of my favorite people in the whole world. And I know that we were looking for a tour. We did a tour with Skid Row last year, and it went amazingly. And we were finishing up our record, and we were looking at who we're going to tour with this year, and a bunch of names came up, and I remember saying, you know, Steel Panther, since we did Skid Row, and it went better than planned, better than expected, and there were tons of sellouts. Then so I said, what about Steel Panther? They're we're all kind of under that same umbrella, and my manager was like, yeah, let me just give them a call, and their manager said it was a great idea, so it kind of got legs from there.
What a party show. I wish it was coming to Sacramento. I know Steel Panther are coming March 15th solo to Sacramento. I
Yeah.
have fond memories stripping at Crazy Girls in Hollywood to
Oh yeah.
Crazy Bitch. Yeah, that was one
Yeah.
of the main songs. I knew it was going to rain if I
Yeah.
said, "Can you play Buckcherry Crazy Bitch?"
Yeah. Well, it was the national anthem at strip clubs. I mean,
Yeah.
girls, girls, girls was like the one, and then when Crazy Bitch hit the airwaves, it kind of took over. You
It
know.
has a soft spot in my heart, like
Yeah.
it's an emotional song for me because it's such good memories in
Yeah.
LA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You remember where you were, the smells in the air. You know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
giving lap dances to like IT guys, tech guys. Like
Yeah.
it's a really good time for
Yeah.
me.
The,
Okay, so we've got Roar Like Thunder, 11th studio album out now. That's really freaking exciting.
well, it comes out, I think, March.
Shit,
No,
it's almost out.
it comes out, I think, May. Our first single will be out next month.
Dude, this is so exciting. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
So
And
you
it's the
are on the
anniversary of 15.
precipice. You are on the jumping off point. You are
Yeah.
here before everyone else. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Like you're waiting for the guy to come and you're really excited, but it's taking a little longer than you expected.
The guy, I would,
That's how the
okay.
album is for me. I'm waiting. So, okay, did you guys sit down and write this together? Like, how long did it take to create the album? Give me all the deets.
Well, Josh and I usually start a year before the recording process. We start demoing here, and we'll do it on the road. I have a road rig that I bring with, and we just start documenting ideas. And then what we do, we set aside a few weeks somewhere along the way, and we get with our producer Marty Fredrickson. So he's become like the sixth member of the band.
You
And
guys have been with him for over 20 years, like working
well,
with him for a long
I
time.
mean, we haven't been with him the whole time, but we did on the 15 album. He co-wrote a song called "Sorry,"
Yeah.
and then he from there he produced the next album, which was Black Butterfly.
It's
But
like a good relationship. You went on a break and you saw other people and you missed each other and you got back together.
yeah, and realized he's the one.
Yeah. Yeah. No more fucking
No more
around with
fucking
other people.
no more
Just
fucking
so
around.
when you say working here, where is here? Where are you right now?
I'm in the Woodland Hills area
I
by
mean, is
Los.
that like a recording studio?
No, my house.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's
Very
a
cool.
little demo studio in my house. Uh,
Yeah.
and when we write with Marty, he's in Nashville, so we fly out there in between tours. And what we do is we take all these ideas and we kind of flesh them out more, so that it'll be we'll from, let's say, 20 ideas, we'll kind of whittle those down to 8, 9, and we'll have songwriting sessions and come up with 10 songs for an album.
That's legit.
Yeah.
I always, though, the name Marty reminds me of the name Pat and the SNL skit. It's like a very androgynous name. And I'm just like, who's like, you know what? I'm going to name my kid Marty. Like, you better be really fucking
Marty's
cool to
a
pull that
pretty
name off.
masculine name, Marty.
Really?
I don't know any girl's name Marty.
I
But
have.
yeah, oh really? All right.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there's Chris and Pat, and Marty is definitely, I don't know. I see it's completely different because I've known Marty for such a long time. So yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, but
So
yeah.
you have tattoos all over.
Oh,
And what is more painful between your neck tattoo and the center of your arm? Which one was worse?
the ditch. It's kind of different, but they're both not good. Anything right by my collarbones, any bones, was difficult. My ribs, my back. The ditch was pretty bad, but that was such a long time ago.
Yeah.
And it gets worse as you get older, right? So,
Wow. That's life in general, not just tattoos.
yeah, exactly.
It gets harder. You get uglier, so then you need to try harder and like pretend that you like people. Oh, it's horrible.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot with getting older, and we're trying to do it gracefully over here.
But more wisdom. Do you
Yeah.
have anywhere not tattooed?
Yeah. The inside of my legs.
Yeah. That's
My whole crotch area is not tattooed. So
yeah. You don't have like a giant elephant tattoo down there
no,
with the trunk.
yeah, there's not that kind of real estate there. So,
My shit's blasted completely. I was just like, why
really?
not? Yeah, I like
What?
started there.
Huh?
I started there because I didn't
Oh,
want them
really?
showing for
What,
years.
what does it say?
It's just like a kiss of death, angel head with wings. When you're really
Oh,
young, you're like, I've got a good idea.
uh, so when a guy gets down there, it's like he's got to really think about like his decisions.
He shouldn't do it. Should be a red flag. He should immediately leave and be like, this bitch is crazy. I'm not going for it. Like Crazy Bitch,
That,
like the song.
the son of the daughter of Satan is here.
Yeah. Yeah. Just run for the hills. But I'm pretty sure like someone could look at me and just figure that out all right away. Okay. So you've been playing guitar for a really long time. Buckcherry got together in the 90s. You came on in 2005. Do you have a favorite guitarist that you've looked up to and was kind of like, okay, that's why I want to play?
Yeah. When I was a teenager, when I was a kid, I saw Randy Rhoads, Ozzy. I saw Ozzy at the Rosemont Horizon in Chicago. I'm from Chicago. So when I saw him, when he went into Mr. Crowley and did all that, and then played, he does a guitar solo in there. No, actually, this was at Poplar Creek. It was an outdoor amphitheater. And I saw it, and I was like, that's what I want to do. I'd gone through this breakup with my first love, and I was already woodshedding for that whole summer. And I didn't go out and see my friend or go out with I didn't go hang out. And I saw that show, and that was it. So I made
What
the
is
decision.
woodshedding?
Woodshedding is just sitting inside and practicing
Okay.
guitar. So I was learning. I went to lessons from this guy Lenny in my hometown, and he was at a place called the Rock Warehouse, and he taught me all the Randy Rhoads licks and Eddie Van Halen and even some Yngwie Malmsteen, and yeah, and from there coincidentally enough, a few years later, as an adult, still acting like a child, but I was in LA and I got a call to audition for Ozzy. So
Wow. So you
I think
played
full circle at that point.
so did you played with Ozzy for a little bit?
No, I didn't. I didn't. I auditioned. I was one of the. Uh, well, at that point, I knew that there was a kid named Zach Wild that was leading the pack,
Yeah.
and I think a guy named Amir Durak was in the running, and it was just all young shredders.
But even to be in the running is really freaking cool.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, it was a cattle call for sure. I mean, there was
yeah.
hundreds, and at this point, there was no internet, so everyone was mailing cassette tapes into this radio station called KNAC. I had a friend that was in with the radio station and had talked to their tour manager, and they were the ones going through all the cassettes, and they put my name at the front of the list for the auditions that day. Anyway, I went out and played with the late great Randy Castillo and Phil Susan. I don't know if he's still alive. Is he still alive? I think so.
Gosh, I
Yeah,
don't
it's Jimmy Bain who died. Anyway,
I think so, but I haven't interviewed him. So how did you meet Josh? How did you guys come across each other's paths?
so a few years after that, I am in Hollywood. Oh, no, I'm in Venice, and I'm working at a clothes store named Aardvarks. Were you around when
No,
Aardvarks?
but very hipster. You weren't living in a tent just off the grid as a musician. I would have tried to move you in my house if you were homeless in Venice. Like that's my type.
Yeah,
You had a job? I don't like that. It's not my
yeah,
thing.
I had to.
Ugh,
I didn't
gross.
have I didn't have a stripper girlfriend.
Yeah, you needed a stripper girlfriend to
Yeah,
pay for your fucking guitars.
yeah. I mean, you know, I'm so ashamed, but I did have a girl that bought me a guitar back then. I'm so
That's hot.
I,
Stevie D. The D got the guitar.
it. Anyway, I'm such a bad person. Anyway,
No.
I was a manager of this clothes store, and we were hiring. We needed two guys, and in walks Josh. He had, he was in a band called Slamhound at the time, and he had long blonde hair, and he was just like this kind of punk rocker, kind of rock and roll kid, and he had like two tattoos, and he was like Axel at the time.
Oh, that's
And
funny.
uh, and we got on real quick, and we were just a whole lot of trouble at the time.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We were like, we got an apartment. It was at the top of Poinsettia,
Oh, yeah.
Points. So we lived at the Pinnacle, and there was a revolving door of like bad news people, and
That was my place on Santa Monica and Wilcox. It was just a house with 4
exactly,
beds, and
it was
everyone was doing drugs and partying all night, and I loved it.
yeah, it was just like that, and there was a lot of drugs, guns, and no money, and
Yeah.
ramen and
Yeah.
mac and cheese.
Yes.
Yeah, we rode it till the wheels fell off. He went his way, I went on my way, and a few years later, after that, he got sober, and I became homeless. And
Then I would fall for you. Then I'd be like, "Let's go."
yeah, and
Yeah.
then um, yeah, and then I moved back to Chicago and
Oh,
tried to get my stuff together. Tried to get my shit together, and it finally worked around 2000. So I had been through a record deal already at that point, but then I came back, ended up moving back to Hollywood uh, to join a band called American Pearl that was on Wind Up. Do you remember them?
no. Tell me
No.
about what's American Pearl like?
They were on Wind Up Records. They were kind of in that rock and roll, but a little bit harder, edgier, um, all tattooed, bunch of guys. Kevin Rankin is the singer of that band. He came from a band called Soul. Anyway, they had a good run. They were at that point. I went to Japan with them and toured, and then came back to make another album. And then 9/11 happened, and everything was wiped out. So I went on from there. But
Damn.
yeah,
So who did Josh contact you and say, "Hey, I want you to play guitar, I've got Buckcherry is going on and we need you," or how did
well,
that
I was at that point I was a hired gun kind of guy. I would go from record deal to record deal, band to band,
Yeah.
and they would get dropped. I would leave and go find new work. Um, I was in this band on Arista, and they just got dropped. And I called Josh, and I said, I'm looking for a gig. Ended up joining. He had a solo band at that time. It was in between the. It was right after the Riding. Oh no, the Time Bomb album for Buckcherry, and we went on the road. I met him in Texas, and then we ended up getting dropped from his deal. And we were on the East Coast somewhere. Anyway, we came back, and I was friends with Keith at the time, Keith Nelson, and I was friends with obviously Josh at the time, and but they weren't talking. So I remember just kind of going back and forth, like, "Hey, saw Keith the other day, and he said hi," and Josh would be like, "Oh, really? Oh, I'll tell him I said hi." And then I'd see Keith, "Hey, I saw Josh the other day. He said to say hi." And so they started talking again. And I got a call like 2 weeks later after we got back from being stranded out on the East Coast. And it was Keith. And he said, "Well, we're going to do a show. We're thinking about doing a show at the Key Club."
Yeah, I loved the Key Club.
Yeah, it was a great, fun
It
play.
was great. I was there every Monday for Metal Mondays and Steel Panther, and there'd be a
Yeah,
lot of famous attorneys and managers, and it would just be like a networking shit show event.
yeah. I mean, that's when they were called Metal School, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was at the Viper Room shows too, and I bartended there for a little bit. Like, it was such
Yeah.
a good time for me. The early 2000s Hollywood, I don't know, just great memories.
Yeah, it was a good time. I remember seeing a lot of actors on stage singing with
Yeah. Oh, I got to bang someone in NSYNC because of Metal Mondays, Metal School. Like, you know what I mean? It was like really famous people would come
yeah,
perform with
yeah,
Steel Panthers.
Clarkson,
Yeah.
Jeremy Piven would be there. Like,
Yeah. Anthrax. I would get to bang people out of my league because of Steel Panther. So it was
yeah.
amazing. Phenomenal. So wait, so you guys met or hung
God,
out at the Key
you're
Club.
you're so honest and open about everything.
You
It's
have to be. That's why I have a podcast, to just be like,
yeah,
well, I'm mentally unstable. I had a really wild 20 years. Let's talk about it, Like,
yeah,
I want to write a book
yeah,
because
yeah.
that's
My Hollywood days were pretty cuckoo. I was out literally out of my mind.
me
Yeah.
too. Me
So,
too. Yeah.
are you sober now, or
No, no, I'm not. That's for quitters. I'm not a quitter, baby.
I guess I'm a quitter.
You're a quitter. Hey, but that means you went over and beyond. You're an overachiever. So that's phenomenal. Um, I got into real estate and had kids, so I slowed down. I was sober 9 months twice. I joke. That's 18 months combined. That's a long time.
Yeah.
But I don't go out a lot. The kids are gone on the weekends, so I go back to my
Oh,
LA assholeness on the weekends, and then during the week I have my green tea and I'm fucking go mode, you know what I mean? So I am sober 5 days out of the week,
uh-huh.
if
And
that counts.
your kids are in sports. What
Yeah,
plays both play travel ball? Baseball?
yeah.
Yeah.
That was one of my questions on the list was, how do you balance being a rock star and a dad?
Um, it's very carefully. I've got a lot of support here um, with his mom. She's on board uh, to co-parent and uh, get the travel ball for us is a huge endeavor.
Mhm.
Like All Stars and travel ball were it was he was playing rec ball anyway. Long story short, it takes a village, right?
Yes.
Um, between his my I have a son, so his between his mother and even some of the other parents that they help out. You know, it's not an easy gig traveling back and forth, missing games or practices. Um, Fortunately, this past from let's say November all last year touring, I was home a good amount. Um,
Yeah.
um, the summer before that was very difficult because I was gone um, straight shot the whole summer, and we're not really doing it like that anymore.
Oh,
Uh,
that's cool.
I mean, it's not it's no secret that Buckcherry was a relentless touring band because that's what we came from. You know, that's what we know, and that's when streaming went like this. Touring had to, and sales, went away. We had to tour more, so we became these road dogs that were. It was never ending. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
I've been a road dog.
uh,
I've been a road dog.
yeah.
Does your son think you're cool?
What you cut out? What was that?
Does your son think you're cool?
No. Um, it's funny. We'll go places, and some people, not usually, but people will recognize. Josh is the most recognizable one in the band. Um, but we'll go places, and he doesn't acknowledge the whole. He's into hip hop and pop music and Eminem and like dad's in a dinosaur band, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah,
No, because my kids don't care that their baby book, they're held up by Ozzy Osbourne and John 5 and stuff. They don't care, and I'll show them photos again, like, "How cool is this?" They're like, "Whatever." They
right.
don't get that they've been backstage at all of these, they're like and same, they like hip hop, they like Eminem,
Yeah,
like, they're like, "Can I meet Eminem?" I'm like, "No, I don't have any connections with
yeah.
Eminem."
I think most parents are not cool to their kids,
Yeah.
and I don't, he's not been aware for that long that I'm in a band. I mean, mostly being in a band was like dad had to go on the road for work and not be home. It's not like it didn't mean like, oh yeah, they're just playing for thousands of people or anything like that. Yeah, every now and then, he watches YouTube all the time. Your
Oh,
kids,
yeah.
so it's every now and then in the shorts, um, I'll pop up and like, hey, there I am, and it's like, and just swipe.
Yeah, no, that's what I love, like, you stay humbled by your children, even if
Yeah,
you're a rock star, they could care fuck one
yeah, yeah.
that you're performing for thousands of people on a stage. They're like, "Your dad, I need chocolate milk now." Like, that's all,
Right.
they
Like,
care about.
can I get Wingstop tonight? You know,
Yeah.
it's and that's great. I don't that doesn't bother me.
No,
That
100%. That's
I
the way
I it's real around here, and even with his friends, like they're not so much into the rock game, like It's more the parents. Like, I hear you're in a band. You know,
Yeah. Yeah, if I went to, competitive baseball practice and you were one of the dads, I would be like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna try to hit on him. This is so cool." Like, all the dads on my son's baseball team are pretty fat in their 40s, and they're like, "You wanna go to church with me?" And I'm like, "Nah, I'm gonna pass on that." So, it's not the
that's
norm.
funny. That's funny.
Okay. Can I
Yeah.
ask you fun random questions?
Yeah.
Okay. What is the hardest part of writing music?
It's, in my opinion, when you're in that songwriting process, you're it's somehow you're tapping into this kind of, um I don't know, space where you're kind of given, a song in a musical way. It's hard to explain, um, but sometimes when I pick up a guitar and I, sometimes tapping into that kind of energy. And I'm not a hippy dippy guy. I'm not a tree hugging, like. But when you tap into that energy, um, sometimes it's quickly and easily and effortless, and sometimes it just isn't there. And a lot of times, as time goes on, as I get older, it's easier to tap. I can tap into that kind of space more frequently or easier. Um, Sometimes, and I've also learned to, when a song is feeling like I'm trying to put a square peg into a round hole or vice versa, I just put the song down. I know not to waste time. When I was younger, I would spend hours, days on trying to make something work. And now like, I don't do that. But I think tapping into that creative energy is can be the hardest thing, you know.
I feel like the way you just described writing a song is a correlation with relationships as you get older. When we're younger, we'll try to make something work that we know isn't working. And when we're older, we're like, that won't work for me right away.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
there's a ton of experience that you need. There's a ton of experiences you need to go through before you get to that, right?
yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's like, the older, the wisdom, you know. So
Yeah. But we can still make the same mistakes over and over. That's fun too.
yeah, I mean, I try not to. I try and catch things early, like, just in songwriting, like, okay, it's, because I right now I've been working on a few, they're called sync ideas. So it's music, it's composing for, like a commercial or, something like that. Uh,
Nice.
and they're simple ideas, um, and I don't spend a lot of time on them. Well, I do and I don't, but uh, if the idea is not coming right away, then I take a break, go walk the dog, go work out, whatever, and then come back and try again. You know,
That's me dating young guys too. If it's not coming right away, I take a break. I walk the dog. I don't know if I want to finish it. I get it. I get
you're not
it.
right away. All right. Well, so
Okay. Have
yeah,
you ever tried the drums?
the drums.
Mhm.
Yeah, of course.
Have you played in a band, drums?
Oh, no, I've not played in a band as a drummer. I played in a bands as a bass player. Early on in Hollywood, I remember, I w- I was at the Coconut Teaser, and I saw this guy, Jeff Buckley, and he was playing for some other band. I can't remember their name, but I went up and talked to him, and we were talking about getting together and playing. And he said, "I'm looking for a bass player." And so I went out, got a bass, and I started playing bass for Jeff at the time. This is
I've met him.
huh?
Yeah. I've met Jeff.
Yeah. So
Yeah, he's cool.
yeah, he was a cool, soft-spoken guy, super intelligent. Um, but yeah, and that was my introduction to uh, what makes a good bass player a good bass player. So
Yeah.
he had me working on a lot of James Brown, Sly and the Family Stone, and Beatles.
Nice.
So, uh, and I still compose when I'm composing. I still hear bass parts, walking bass parts, like I worked on with him. You know.
I think people play bass so they can make eye contact with more people in the audience, to try to see who they want to hit on later.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
could.
that
That
could
could.
be. Okay, if you had to pick between AC/DC or Black Sabbath, which one would you choose?
I mean, me. I'm an AC/DC guy. I love Black Sabbath. I came up on Black Sabbath and AC/DC, but as a guitar player, I connected with Angus early on. He was like the first. Well, there was Jimi Hendrix, Jimmy Page, and then Angus for me, that's been with me the longest. I've reverse engineered all of his stuff. So yeah, that's my guy.
Your AC/DC groupie.
Ah,
I like
100.
it. One of my son's names is Hendrix. So
Oh, really?
yeah, I love Hendrix. Big
That's
big
cool.
Hendrix fan.
Which
And Bowie.
Hendrix and Bowie? Wow, that's really cool. I
Yeah,
have
I hope they get laid a lot when they're older because their names are cool.
yeah, that's good criteria to name your children.
Yeah, and they play
Probably
music.
that.
I want them to be in a band, and I wanna be the band manager. That's, like, my goal in
Okay.
life. Yeah.
Yeah. Are they playing?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. But
great.
unfortunately, my oldest doesn't wanna play guitar, and he's with trumpet, and I'm trying to tell him the trumpet is not gonna get him laid. Maybe a ska
I
band.
trumpet, but and it's segued into guitar.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Alright, I'm listening.
Uh, you know,
Um,
Lee played trumpet. Um, you know, Miles Davis is amazing. I don't know. It's a different world. You know,
yeah. No, and
Suppose it's
then
musical
they're
and
into those
it,
DJ sets, those, like, weird they're into, like, DJing, the weird I don't know, they've got them in their rooms, and I'm like, "This isn't music," but they like it.
it's all right. Cute. As long as they're musical, maybe they'll find a path. I mean, it is 2025 now, and guitar music and guitar is really taking a back seat. So,
Mhm.
who's right? I don't. Terrestrial radio is going away. Rock music is really small compared to pop music and hip hop, and electronic music is huge. So
I do think, though, rock music in the last couple years is coming back. You know what I mean? The numbers have climbed up a little bit more, and there's been a resurge of, also, divorced dad rock, the joke from 20 years ago. It's becoming more mainstream.
divorce. What would be an example of divorced dad rock?
So everything. So Hinder, Crossfade, Drowning Pool. I think Buckcherry could be on it. Creed. Their halftime show from like 2000 is now becoming one of the most watched clips on YouTube. So there's just like this
Oh,
revamping, resurfacing of these
divorced
bands.
dad rock.
Yeah, that's you. What do you mean? You
A meme that there was a girl. It was her mugshot, and it was about something about she had like went after her husband and like tried to stab him or tried to kill him and drove the car over him or something. And then there was in the comments was because he was a Buckcherry fan, and so
You know what
uh,
I love when I see the mugshots of the hot chicks and the guys go, "I can save her." And I'm like, "I
uh,
love that." Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's how I feel. Okay, what is your favorite Prince song?
Oh man, so many. I'm a huge Prince fan. And recently I did a bunch of sync songs that were kind of like under the Cherry Moon vibe. Um, you need another. You need a lover like you need a hole in your head was
Mm,
something that I was a sound I was after. Around the World in a Day, but this always changes. I
mhm.
constantly like, and then I'll go back to the Love Sexy days or the Controversy days or Sign of the Times. Like I it depends on how I'm feeling. I don't
Yeah.
have a desert island album. That'd be so hard to. But yeah, I like them all.
Yeah. I feel that. It
Yeah,
switches around.
you know,
Okay, light side or dark side?
light side or dark side.
Star
Uh,
Wars, baby. Star Wars.
say again.
Star Wars. You like Star
Oh,
Wars, right? Yeah.
man, I I like them both. I love Star Wars. Um, I've watched them all in chronological order, and I've watched them all in story timeline order. Um, what I do, dark side of light. I don't know. I like the light side.
What? No, dark side all the way. Like Kylo Ren. Oh my gosh, especially shirtless.
Yeah.
Down, down. And
I,
Darth Vader. All right. I was like kind of like you're cool, and now I don't know. I've got to rethink it.
well, what's the new protege? What's the girl's name again?
Ray.
Ray. I think she's amazing. You
She's
know.
hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
She's hot. And I think she wants to bang her brother, right? Like she wants to bang Kylo Ren. Like they have sexual tension. It's very Luke
yeah.
and Layla.
And Leia. Yeah.
Leia, sorry, Leia and Luke. And
Yeah.
then because she ended up actually banging Han Solo off camera. Huh. Yeah, that's crazy. Anyways,
Yeah.
okay.
Right. So
Yeah. Everybody's dead, right? I don't like literally I don't know how I'm alive. Like everyone I was partying with 20 years ago was like dead.
mm,
Isn't that I bet you know a lot of people that are dead.
yeah, they started dying when I left around 94 and came back in 2000, and a lot died right then because it was I think with as meth, it wasn't fentanyl. It was right then. It was meth, and so it made everyone crazy, right?
See, it was pills and heroin for like a lot of people were smoking oxycontins and taking pills. For
Yeah,
me in the early I left in 2014, but in the
yeah,
2004 to 2014 in my big phase, my
yeah,
dog's getting excited. It was people smoking heroin and crushing pills and smoking pills, and it was just like zombies.
yeah, yeah. I used to. There was a place called the Hollywood Village back in the day, and that was the meeting place for a lot of junkies and hookers to like not out or be you, drink and use and then just beat and squat.
Yeah. I never went full blown hooker, but I like watching documentaries about them because it's like, man, I could have. Like I was on the cusp.
I know so many, like unfortunately I knew a bunch of girls that ended up that route.
Yeah, me too.
And
Yeah.
very unfortunate. It's very sad. Very
Yeah. Do you know the singer Dorothy?
yeah.
We started off stripping together and now she's a rock star. Like
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
this shit
where did I saw her on a boat, a cruise.
Monsters of Rock
Yeah, no,
cruise.
speed
Or
cruise.
yeah, yeah, there's so
It's
many of
the
them. They're
port
really
cruise. The
yeah.
rock cruise.
It
Yeah.
no, they are and there's a Summer of '99 cruise that I really wanna go on, and it's like Creed and Alien Ant Farm and all these bands in the late '90s, that I went through my
Yeah.
teenage growth phase with, and I'm like, "Oh, I'd
Yeah.
love to see them
Yeah.
again."
I saw her. I wrote with her probably 2021 maybe. She came over here. She was looking for songs. We didn't really connect. You know, she at the time she was a little out there,
Oh,
but
no, I was when I met her, we both were out there, and then, it was fun and I actually crashed on her and her boyfriend Dante's couch, you know, because I was in between places so much, so I, like, lived on their couch for a little bit, and it's just funny how many people in LA are doing big shit now, and we were all just, like, fucked up,
yeah,
like and, like, you either die or you do something cool.
yeah. I think from when Josh and I were in Hollywood, um, it's really sad. Like we would go on tour. We 15 hit. That was the album that Crazy Bitch was on,
Yeah.
and I remember that took us around the world several times, and from that time, from the early '90s, we were just running into a lot of people that crashed and burned in Hollywood and had to go back home, and it's really sad that not a lot of them kind of made it out,
Mhm.
or just didn't get out of that whole defeated mind space that they ended up in after being in Hollywood. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, everything happens to a reason, you know, and it's good to try your dreams out and try not to give up on them, but like a 9 to 5 is okay too. I don't
Yeah,
know. And
I
not
remember.
partying too hard.
I think a 9 to 5, a stable life is way more appealing than you know, kind of gambling and it's a rough go. You know, trying.
Yeah.
Uh,
And like tour buses are harder, you know, the toilets would break, we'd be out of water, we'd eat like shit in different areas. So it's not as luxurious, I think, as some would
a
find it.
lot of people don't. You know, I mean, they. I think a lot of people watch those old videos of Motley Crue
Mhm.
and '80s guys, or the ones that are super. You know, the 1% of the 1% that actually get to do this for a living. You know, they'll see Metallica and they'll see that those lives, you know, like Foo Fighters, and think that's what everyone lives like. And
Yeah.
um, unfortunately, not true.
Like
Yeah.
Foo Fight like you just leave your family and impregnate some hot young chick and then go back to your family. Not everyone does that though.
Um, I've seen that. Seen that with. Yeah.
It's been a hot topic. Okay, last question. What
Yeah.
is a goal that you still want to accomplish?
Um, have another top 10 hit. Whether you know from uh, co-writes or you know, Buckcherry. It's a weird time now because terrestrial radio is uh, the scope is super limited now, and it's active rock, and we're
Mhm.
not an active rock band. Um, but yeah, I just want to stay. Look, I just the biggest goal I have right now is raising uh, a balanced, uh, good human being.
Yeah.
You know, that's all I care about right now. I you know all this, you know, making music, touring, that's all means to an end. That's I'm a hunter gatherer. I go out and bring home everything. I bring home the money, I bring home the food and all that, so this boy here can have a good life and become a good great young man, you know.
I feel that and give back to society. I'm raising 2 kids, so one of them can change my diapers when I'm older. So my fingers are crossed that
I don't want
somebody
that burden, but I get that mentality. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's cool. Well, maybe you guys' next hit could be Crazy Bitch 2. Crazy Bitch to the Second Power or
Well,
something.
you know, we tried reissuing it with a hip hop guy, and it didn't work. So, you know, we'll just leave that there. We'll write it.
You just gave me an idea. Remember what Linkin Park did with Jay-Z? You guys need to call Jay-Z and get him rapping on Crazy Bitch.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we should try that. Uh,
Yes.
Call him for us.
Okay, we got to get his manager. Man, I don't know. I'm trying to get Deftones manager right now, and they're from Sacramento. It's not always easy. I feel like when I was with the station, it was so easy. We had a whole list. And now that I'm doing my own podcast, like I just slid in your DMs and bothered you, or I put a comment or something. And that's how I've gotten all these guests, or I partied with them, back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
you can do it.
I can do it.
Yeah. If anyone can do it, I bet you can.
I agree. Thank you. Well, dude, thank you so much for letting me steal a bunch of your time. And I'm really excited that you're going on tour with Steel Panther and that the new album comes out really soon next month. And I'll follow you and keep in contact with you.
Yes, I'm around. Just hit me up online.
Okay, badass.
All right. All right, everybody. Bye. Thank you, Steph.
Thank you.